What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the next episode, or the final episode, I should say, of the Road to Glory career mode today. In this one, we're going to be rounding up the entire series, taking a look at how we performed, also be giving out the best player of the series, and taking a look at some of the best goals scored as well. So, without further ado, let's jump into the episode, and let's begin with the first season that we played with this Alexandra side, of course. Way back, Season 1, League 2 football is what we were playing, and we ended up getting promoted straight out of League 2. We won the EFL League 2 itself, which was great. We didn't really do much in the cups. We got the lead objective achieved, though, so that's what we had to do. Only one manager of the month and no manager of the year for myself, so that's a little bit disappointing. Didn't even pay a transfer fee for a single player in this season, which was quite funny. But we did sell one. Dagnall left the club for 550k, and out of the 55 games that we played in Season 1, that was how he performed. 25 wins, 16 draws, 14 defeats, scoring 76 and conceding 53 along the way. Kind of strange to see the fact that we didn't actually even buy a player in that year, in all honesty. But sometimes with these Road to Glory saves, you kind of have to do that to work your way up to actually be able to afford players. So I can understand why we didn't. So that was Season 1 in League 2. After that, we played Season 2 in League 1. As we're swapping the numbers around, where again, we would go on to win the league itself, gaining automatic promotion, doing a little bit better in the cup as well. Round 5 replay of the FA Cup this time, and round 2 of the Checker Trade Trophy. We actually did buy a player on this occasion, though. We sold Bowery for 570k, this time bringing in Gomez for 1.3 million. I believe that was Angel Gomez, the Manchester United guy, in which case, that was a steal when you compare it to a few of the other things that we have paid in the past. Played 56 games in this season, winning a lot more than we did in Season 1, drawing a lot less and losing a little bit less as well, scoring a load of goals in this one. A much better Season 2 than it was Season 1, but of course another league win for us as well, so you can't really throw your nose up at that. It is what it is, and as I said, spending that much money on a player was also pretty good, because of course Angel Gomez eventually did leave the club as well. So we do have that to look forward to. Next up was the Championship in 2019-2020, where we would... I believe we won the Championship as well. We were demolishing it league by league, going up every single season, winning the Championship, reaching the 5th round again of the FA Cup, another replay for us. You can see, though, this is where the money started to come in, because you remember a certain Frank Voss left the club in this season for £20 million. We replaced him with Reece Nelson. He left, the right midfielder. I'll show you him in just a moment's time. He left, and of course, after that, we had to replace him. So we picked up Reece Nelson to do that. Finishing first in the Championship, winning 30 of our 53 league games, drawing a few more, and losing one more than the season before. But of course, this was Championship football, so it's a little bit harder. But I mean, 20 million quid for a player in the Championship, that's a lot of money. I think he's still at actually the club where he left to. Genoa, I think he left to, and he's still there now. So he's enjoyed a little bit of a fruitful spell over in Italy with them. And we'll take a look at his stats and such in a moment. But as I said, we move forward now into the Premier League, where we would go on to win it. We pretty much won the league every single season that we had of this series. Now, that was down to also the fact that I didn't introduce sliders until halfway through. And Legendary was a little bit easier than it should have been in this year's FIFA. As I said, I didn't really introduce the whole slider settings thing until halfway through the series. We won the Premier League, finished quarter-finalists in the Carabao Cup, spending 5.2 million on Oxford, but receiving 7.5 for Hill, who I believe was a goalkeeper. Significantly less money spent when you consider we actually won the league as well. But we did do some really good business on pre-contracts, and that's pretty much why. Winning 28 games out of 48 that we played, drawing 12, losing 8. A very, very good first season in the Premier League. From there on, though, after winning the league, we won the Champions League. I mean, like I said to you guys, Legendary this year was far too easy. Without sliders, it was at this point that I realised, okay, I'm going to have to use sliders now because this is a little bit too easy. We won the FA Cup, won the Champions League, won the Premier League, won the Community Shield, finished in the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup. So, yeah, like I said, we at this point realised that we would have to kind of make this harder for ourselves. Manager of the year in this particular year, bringing in Donis, and Brereton actually left after scoring a ridiculous amount of goals in a ridiculous amount of games in the Premier League. We scored 143 in this season, which is just mind-boggling. He was part of that front three. Reece Nelson, Ben Brereton, and who was the left winger? Who was the... I can't remember. Was it Calvert-Lewin, possibly? That might have been the guy. But yeah, 67 games played in this particular season, which was kind of crazy as well. Then into 2022-2023, where we won the Copa Europe, won the Champions League, finished runners-up in the Community Shield, winning the Carabao Cup instead in this particular season, winning the Premier League as well. And we didn't actually pick up Manager of the Year. Although we did sell Jay Green for over 100 million, 110 in fact, bringing in Donnarumma as his replacement for 85, which is an astronomical amount of money on both sides. Again, a pretty good record overall in 66 games. It'd be interesting to see just how many games we actually played overall, which we'll get to in a moment. Because I'm surprised to see that stat as well. You've got to remember, down the line as well, in 2022, we won the World Cup with England, so that was obviously nice as well. This is the season just gone, of course, that you guys will have seen in terms of that one. We, of course, won the league, won the Champions League, won the Copa Europe, finishing in the semis of the Carabao Cup, finishing in round 5 of the FA Cup. No Manager of the Year. Mbappe record transfer fee at 72 million. Haas leaving for Liverpool for 45. Finishing in first in the Premier League. Another good record overall. But that was it then. That's the final year. Of course, this is the current one that I'm now in, but we're not going to be playing through that one. Overall, though, that leaves us then with 1 club, 7 league titles, 2 domestic cups, I should say, 3 continental cups, a biggest win against Basel in 2023, should I say. I remember that game. It was pretty crazy, actually. A biggest defeat to West Ham 4-0 in May of 2022, which I don't think I played. That must have been a sim. A record transfer fee that we paid of 85 million. But look at that. 413 games played, 751 goals scored. I would have liked to have got to 1,000, I think. But unfortunately, wasn't quite meant to be. So there we go then. And that ends off then, ladies and gentlemen, this series. We're going to take a look quickly at the team that we're going to finish with. Of course, I actually should do this through Squad Hub. Let me go to Squad Hub a second and we'll do it through there. So Squad Hub then, and we'll take it into positions. Obviously, Donnarumma was our number 1, one of the world's best. It's not really surprising, that is it. We understand why he's one of the world's best. He is a crazy, crazy player. Valued at £63 million. In terms of our goalkeepers, these two didn't really play for us. In terms of right-backs, though, Alexander-Arnold, man, unbelievable for England in that World Cup. Just as unbelievable in this crew side. So you can't really take much away. Again, just loads of fringe players as well. Oxford was decent. Villa came in. I think he was a free transfer, Villa. Tarkowski was very good. I mean, this guy has a shout for Player of the Year. Not surprising, is it? Been with us since since season 2, was it? We picked him up. I can't actually remember off the back of my head, but I just remember that we did pick him up for a very, very low amount. In fact, going back to my point that I made, I actually think we did sign a few players in season. We did. That's right. I remember now. We did sign a few players, but then if you remember, I accidentally saved over the save file on my main account, so then I had to remake it with the players we had. So I tell a lie. We did actually sign players in Season 1. I think Ezri Konsa was one of those guys we picked up. So, yeah, we did actually buy players in Season 1. So, I tell a lie. There we go. But, yeah, definitely somebody who is earmarked for the potential Player of the Year. Christensen joined this season for a hefty amount as well. 90 rated centre-back. Him. Donnarumma, obviously 90 rated. We've got Greg Lee in there. Jose Gaia. Greg Lee was decent as well. I'm not going to lie to you guys. John Lukaku. Espinoza's come in as well recently. He's been very good. Delgado. Continuing on, we got a few other players as well. Rodriguez didn't really ever get into the team properly. Lewis Cook was decent this season as well. Zachariah, not too bad. But, I mean, we're starting to get to the players, though, where it actually matters. Dominic Evans, he scored some important goals for us, man, down the line. And I think he's actually probably going to win goal of the series. Obviously, you'll see that in a few moments, the goal of the series type thing. But I've got to say, he's probably going to win it. That strike, it was a ridiculous shot. You'll see it. Barca Villa as well, 88 rated. Didn't quite hit that 90 overall, but not too far away. Isaac Martin, not terrible, but didn't really get in the side much. Pulisic, another 90 rated player. Of course, wasn't really... He was already that when he came to us. Calvert-Lewin, unbelievable in the earlier seasons. Not quite as good now, though. Fratchak as well, 90 rated, valued at £85 million now. Crazy when you consider we picked him up for 26. And Mbappe, 120 million is what he would cost. Wow. Griezmann in there as well. Of course, Da Costa, who is the Ronaldo regen. But Mbappe is our highest value player. £120 million is what he's worth. He's on 430 grand a week. What? I didn't even realise that is astronomical. Wow. That is... I'm lost for words. Anyways, Transfers, we're going to show you then, as I said, some of the players who did play for us. So, starting with Frank Voss, he's still at Genoa, as I said. 86 rated right now. He is very good. We know about that. His attributes, 4-star weak foot, 3-star skill moves. The only problem is, doesn't have the acceleration to match his sprint speed. If he did, he'd be one hell of a player. He still is. I'm not going to lie to you guys. He still is a hell of a player, but needs a little bit more work, I'd say, if he was to make it big. He was the only real major one that we let go out of the players that could have had a future here. A lot of the other players didn't really ever get themselves into anywhere. I mean, a lot of other guys we let go as well. So, other than that, guys, that is it for this year's Road to Glory. I'm sure we'll have another one for FIFA 19 coming at you. And now then, we're going to focus on the top goals and all that fun stuff. Giving out player of the season as well. Who do you guys think it's going to be? Leave me a comment suggesting who you would have given it to. You'll see it in just a moment. Until then, though, guys, back in a second. Oh my goodness me, Rose looking for Phillips! Oh, it's in! Oh my goodness, what on earth has just happened? He's in the side today because of the fact we have issues with fitness. And one of our youth players, I'm going to have to watch this back on the replay because of course it's a little bit delayed compared to that one. But, oh my goodness, one of the youth players, it's Phillips. The keeper gets it all wrong and Phillips has given us the lead. Looking at this though, I saw him make a bursting run. I'll show you on the replay in a second. I saw him make the bursting run because he actually wins the header in the back line that sets us up with this. And he then just continued it all the way forward and somehow that has gone in. Quality very much in the half of Southampton so far. Oxford's effort. Oh, what a strike from Reece Oxford. And he has found the goal that's broke the deadlock here. And we're only 15 minutes played. Even get an achievement for that. During open play, score a long distance goal with a defender. Boom. What a strike from Reece Oxford. Certainly got it in his locker. But I was not expecting that one to go in. It just sat up perfectly for him, didn't it? And it's always going away from the goalkeeper right into that top corner. If there was anybody capable of doing it from the defensive standpoint, it's going to be him, possibly Gaia. They are capable of shooting. That is a sensational effort and well deserving to give us the lead here inside 14 minutes. It over the top of the crossbar. And as we go into the second half, in what seems to be right now typical Crew fashion, we allowed them to have an opportunity. And they took it with both hands. Sensational strike, but at this point, you could feel the silence fill the stadium. Crew fans weren't sure what was going on. The players weren't sure what was going on. Because the Champions League winners, as it stood at 2-1 down, risked not getting out of the Champions League group on their defense of the trophy. So, yeah, a massive... But I don't really want to be on left foot. He's passed him anyways. Griezmann's at the back post. Griezmann's there. The cross towards it. Didn't work out, but it's come back to Espinoza. And he has put one into the top corner. What a strike from the Chilean. That's only his second league. Oh, sorry, he's not even in the league. Second goal for Crew. But what a moment to get it. A sensational effort. It's our first shot of the entire game. And what a peach of a strike it was as well. On the half volley. Right-footed, top bins, not much better than that. Oh my goodness, we don't deserve that. Arsenal have been the better team. And without, Donnarumma between the sticks, we would have quite easily been 1-0 down, or 2-0 down for that matter. But my goodness me, what a strike from Espinoza. Finding Alexander-Arnold, the pass was shocking, sent him out wide, he gets it back to number 7, and then take a look at this. The substitute, Dominic Evans, one touch with the left foot, the second one with the outside of the right boot, curls it into the top corner and makes the score. Crew 2, Watford 1. I scored this and I could not believe it. I was sat there in shock. If you take a look at another look at this from this angle in a moment that comes up, you'll see what I'm talking about. The bend, the whip on the ball to get it back in. This angle does it justice, but there is another one that I'll show you from in a moment. The keeper was nowhere near this. It's a quality strike. The technique and everything was on point from Evans. And I got to give him credit, you know, he had a kind of wishy start, you know, where he didn't really look at this from this angle. One touch, doesn't really think about passing it. Bang! Releases it with his right foot. It's going wide, but curls in at the last second. And oh my goodness me, is that the goal of the series? If you can think of a better one, leave me a comment below, but I think that has to go down as possibly the goal of the series so far. And there we have it then. So the last award to give out does go to the player of the series, which on this occasion, I decided we had to give it to Ezri Konsa, signed in Season 1 from Charlton. He's captained this crew side to some very, very memorable nights, especially a couple of Champions Leagues in there. It was a shame really that he never got into the England setup, and that was down to me as a manager not being switched on enough really to give him the call up, but there you go. With that, of course guys, that does end off this series. Thank you so much for all of the support over the last year of this FIFA. It's been incredible to see, and obviously we'll go again in FIFA 19. Hopefully we'll have another Road to Glory series and we will do just as well in that one as well as we did in this one, and maybe have some more memorable players coming out of it as well. So that list of goals actually was quite difficult to try and pick, because there was a lot of goals that weren't necessarily brilliant, you know, world-class goals like we had in last year's. But that don't come down to the fact that we also upped the goalkeeper to 75 this year, whereas last year I didn't touch sliders, so you can kind of use it as you wish. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the Road to Glory career mode of FIFA 18. Thank you so much for watching it. Thank you for all of the likes and stuff over the series in this mini one, I guess you could say. But we're back again for FIFA 19. It's days away. Hopefully you stick with me on the channel, and hopefully you're excited for it as well. Until the next video though, guys, make sure you enjoy whatever it is you get up to. And I'll catch you all again very, very soon. See you all then. Adios.